The emergency signal came from deep space, cutting through the quiet of a dozen different communication channels. Dr. Zithara pressed her four-fingered hands against the control panel as another tremor shook the research station. The metal walls groaned around her, and she could hear the distant sound of something breaking in the lower levels. "How much time do we have left?" asked her assistant, Velmoth, his purple skin pale with fear. Zithara checked the readings again. 72 hours, maybe less if the main reactor keeps losing power. The Velkan research station hung in space like a broken toy. It orbited close to a massive gas giant that painted everything in shades of orange and red. The planet's radiation was deadly, and its gravity pulled at the station with invisible hands. What had started as a routine research mission had become a nightmare when the station's engines failed during a solar storm. Now they were trapped. Their orbit was getting lower each hour, and soon the gas giant would swallow them completely. Zithara had sent the distress signal to every known civilization in the galaxy. The response was not what she had hoped for. The Corvani Empire sent a message first. "Too dangerous. Our ships cannot survive that radiation level. Good luck." The Thexian Federation was next. "Mission impossible. No ship can operate near that gas giant. We are sorry." Even the advanced Zephyrians, with their powerful technology, refused to help. "The gravitational anomalies make rescue impossible. We cannot risk our crews." One by one, every major civilization in the galaxy said the same thing. Too dangerous. Impossible. Sorry. Zithara felt her hope dying. Her people were scientists, not warriors. They had spent their lives studying the stars, not fighting them. The Velvans were known throughout the galaxy as peaceful researchers who shared knowledge freely. They had friends everywhere, but none of those friends could help them now. "Doctor," Velmoth said quietly, "maybe we should prepare the emergency pods." Zithara knew what he meant. The escape pods could only hold half their crew. The others would have to stay behind and die with the station. It was not a choice any leader should have to make. "Not yet," she said. "Someone might still answer." But who? Every major power in the galaxy had already refused. The smaller civilizations did not have ships that could handle this kind of rescue. Zithara was running out of hope when a new message appeared on her screen. The signal was strange, the language was unfamiliar, and the translation software struggled to make sense of it. Finally, words appeared on her screen. "This is Captain Jinwoo Park of the Earthship Endurance. We received your distress call. We are coming to get you." Zithara stared at the message. Earth? She had never heard of this civilization. She quickly searched the galactic database and found only a small entry. Earth was listed as a death world in the outer rim. Its people were called humans, and they were marked as a primitive species with dangerous tendencies. "Who are they?" Velmoth asked, reading over her shoulder. "I do not know," Zithara replied, "but they are the only ones coming." She sent a response, warning the humans about the dangers. The radiation levels, the gravitational anomalies, the unstable orbit. She explained that every advanced civilization in the galaxy had declared the rescue impossible. The human captain's response was simple. "Understood. We will be there in 18 hours. 18 hours. The other civilizations had taken days just to analyze the situation before refusing. These humans had made their decision in minutes. "Should we trust them?" Velmoth asked. "They are listed as primitive." Zithara looked at the readings from the gas giant. The radiation was getting stronger, and their orbit was decaying faster than expected. They might not have 72 hours after all. "What choice do we have?" she said. As the hours passed, Zithara watched her crew try to hold the station together. They were brilliant scientists, but they were not engineers or soldiers. They fixed what they could and hoped it would be enough. The Corvani Empire sent another message. We detected a primitive vessel heading toward your position. Tell them to turn back. They will only die with you. Other civilizations sent similar warnings. The humans were flying toward certain death. Their primitive technology could never handle the conditions near the gas giant. It was a noble gesture, but it would only add to the tragedy. Zithara began to feel guilty. These humans were going to die because of her distress signal. She should tell them to turn back, but her crew was running out of time. 3 more Velvans had been injured when a support beam collapsed in the lower section. "Doctor," the communications officer called out, "I am picking up a ship on long-range sensors." Zithara looked at the display. A single dot was moving toward them through space, pushing through radiation that would cook most ships. The humans were really coming. "Try to contact them," she ordered. A few minutes later, a voice filled the command center. The translation was rough, but she could understand the words. "This is Captain Park. We see your station. We are going to get you out of there." The voice was calm and confident. It did not sound like someone flying toward certain death. It sounded like someone who had already decided that failure was not an option. "Captain Park," Zithara said, "thank you for coming. But you should know that other ships have tried this before. None have succeeded." There was a pause. Then the human captain spoke again. "Doctor, we did not come here to try. We came here to succeed. Hang on. We are almost there." Zithara felt something she had not felt in days. Hope. The human ship appeared on Zithara's screens like nothing she had ever seen before. It was not elegant like Corvani vessels or smooth like Thexian designs. The Endurance looked like it had been built to survive a war. Its hull was thick and scarred, with strange additions welded to its sides. "That ship should not be able to fly in this radiation," Velmoth whispered. Zithara agreed, but the evidence was right in front of her eyes. The human vessel moved through space that would kill most crews in minutes. Somehow, they were alive and getting closer. "Velkin Station, this is Captain Park. We are beginning our approach. Please prepare your crew for evacuation." Zithara opened the communication channel. "Captain, how many people can your ship carry?" "All of you. We do not leave anyone behind." The words hit Zithara like a physical blow. All of them. The Velkin station had 43 crew members. Most rescue ships could only carry a dozen passengers at most. How could one small vessel take everyone? "Captain, that is impossible. We have too many people." "Doctor, we will make it work. Trust us." Another tremor shook the station, stronger than before. Lights flickered throughout the command center, and Zithara heard the sound of metal tearing somewhere in the distance. Their time was running out fast. "Doctor," called the sensor operator, "the gas giant's radiation is increasing. Our shields will not hold much longer." Zithara looked at the readings. The numbers were climbing toward lethal levels. Even if the humans could take some of her crew, the rest would die within hours. "Captain Park, you need to hurry. Our shields are failing." "We see that. We have a plan. Can your people gather in the main docking bay?" Zithara gave the order, and her crew began moving through the failing station. Some walked, others had to be carried. The injured scientists leaned on their colleagues as they made their way through corridors that grew more dangerous by the minute. The human ship docked with their station with a loud clang that echoed through the metal walls. Zithara had never heard a docking that rough before, but somehow it held. The airlock opened, and Zithara got her first look at a human being. Captain Jinwoo Park was not what she had expected. He was shorter than most aliens she had met, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. He wore a simple uniform that looked practical rather than decorative. Behind him came more humans. They moved quickly but carefully, checking every corner and surface. One of them, a woman with short hair, immediately began scanning the injured Velvans with a medical device. "I am Dr. Minjun Choi," the woman said through the translator. I am here to help your wounded." Zithara watched in amazement as the human doctor began treating injuries she had never seen before. The Velvans had a completely different biology than humans, but Dr. Choi worked with confidence and skill. "How do you know how to treat our people?" Zithara asked. Dr. Choi looked up from her patient. "I studied your medical files from the Galactic database during our flight here. Your people are not so different from us." Captain Park was examining the station's structure with another human, a man with grease stains on his uniform. "Engineer Kim, can we get them all out before this place falls apart?" The engineer ran his scanner along the walls and nodded. "The docking connection will hold for another hour, maybe 2 if we are lucky." "That is not enough time," Zithara said. "Moving 43 people will take at least 3 hours." Captain Park smiled, and Zithara realized it was the first time she had seen a human expression. "Doctor, you are thinking like an alien. We think like humans." Before she could ask what that meant, the humans began working with a speed and efficiency that left her speechless. They did not follow normal evacuation procedures. Instead, they created their own. Engineer Kim welded temporary supports to strengthen the docking connection. Dr. Choi set up a mobile medical station right in the corridor, treating patients as they passed. Other humans formed assembly lines to move equipment and people. "This is not how evacuations are supposed to work," Velmoth said nervously. "Maybe that is why it is working," Zithara replied. She watched a human woman named So Young Lee carry a injured Velkan twice her size without any sign of strain. When Zithara asked how this was possible, Lee simply said, "We grew up in heavy gravity. This feels normal to us." Heavy gravity. Zithara checked the database again. Earth's gravity was nearly twice what most civilized worlds considered safe. These humans had spent their entire lives fighting against forces that would crush other species. Captain Park approached her as the evacuation continued. "Doctor, we need to leave soon. Your orbit is decaying faster than our calculations showed." "How can you tell?" Park pointed to a device on his wrist. "We monitor gravitational changes constantly. Growing up near tidal zones teaches you to respect gravity." Tidal zones? Zithara realized she knew almost nothing about these remarkable beings. They came from a world so dangerous that surviving it had made them stronger than anyone in the galaxy had imagined. "Captain, why did your people come when everyone else refused?" Park was quiet for a moment. "On our world, we have a saying. When someone calls for help, you answer. It does not matter if it is dangerous or impossible. You try anyway. But you could have died." "Yes, but you would have died for certain if we did nothing." The logic was simple and profound. While other civilizations had calculated the risks and chosen safety, the humans had calculated the cost of doing nothing and chosen action. "All aboard," called Engineer Kim from the docking tube. "Station structure is failing fast." The last Velkan scientists hurried aboard the Endurance as warning alarms echoed through the research station. Zithara took one final look at her life's work, then followed her people toward safety. As the airlock sealed behind them, the Velkan station finally gave up its fight against the gas giant's pull. Through the viewports, Zithara watched her home break apart and disappear into the orange clouds below. "I am sorry about your station," Captain Park said. "Do not be," Zithara replied. "You saved something more important. You saved us." The Endurance was nothing like any ship Zithara had ever been on before. The corridors were narrow and practical, with no wasted space for decoration. Everything seemed designed for function over beauty, but it felt solid and safe. "Welcome aboard," Captain Park said as he led the Velkan survivors through the ship. "I know it is not much to look at, but it will get us home." Zithara noticed how the humans moved through their ship. They walked with confidence in spaces that seemed impossibly cramped to her people. The ceilings were low, the walls were close together, and everything felt compressed. "Your ship is very small inside," she observed. Engineer Hae-Jin Kim overheard and laughed. "This is actually quite spacious for us. Most human ships are built tighter than this." Zithara found that hard to believe until Dr. Choi explained. "We come from a world with limited resources. We learned to make every meter count." The human doctor had set up a medical bay in what appeared to be a storage room. She was treating the injured Velvans with equipment that looked rough, but worked perfectly. Velmoth was lying on one of the beds, his broken arm already in some kind of healing device. "How do you feel?" Zithara asked her assistant. "Better than I have in days," Velmoth replied. "This human medicine is amazing. Different from ours, but it works." Dr. Choi looked up from her patient. "Pain is pain. Fear is fear. The body's need to heal is the same across species." "But you had never treated a Velkin before today." "No, but I have treated injuries like these." A broken bone is a broken bone, whether it belongs to a human or a Velkin. Zithara marveled at the human approach to medicine, where Velkin doctors would spend weeks studying a new species before attempting treatment. Dr. Choi had simply started helping and adapted as she went. A warning alarm sounded throughout the ship. Captain Park's voice came over the communication system. "All passengers, please hold on. We are beginning our escape from the gas giant's gravity well." Zithara felt the ship's engines power up. The vibration was unlike anything she had experienced on Velkin vessels, which moved smoothly and quietly through space. The Endurance felt like a living thing, fighting against the forces trying to drag it down. "This is normal?" she asked Engineer Kim, who was checking systems nearby. "For us, yes. Human ships are built to push through problems, not go around them." The ship shook as Captain Park increased power to the engines. Zithara could see the strain readings on Kim's display, and the numbers were far beyond what any Velkin ship could handle. "Are we going to make it?" she asked. Kim grinned. "Doctor, this ship once flew through the corona of a star to rescue a mining crew. A gas giant is just another Tuesday for us." "Through a corona?" Zithara had to check her translator to make sure she understood correctly. Flying through the outer atmosphere of a star was impossible. No ship could survive those temperatures. "You are joking." "I was there," Kim replied. "Captain Park decided that the miners needed help more than we needed safety, so we went in and got them." As the Endurance climbed away from the gas giant, Zithara began to understand what made humans different. Every other species in the galaxy had looked at the rescue mission and seen all the ways it could fail. The humans had looked at the same situation and seen a problem that needed solving. "Captain Park," she said over the intercom, "may I come to your bridge?" "Of course, Doctor." The human bridge was smaller than a Velkin command center, with only 4 crew positions. Captain Park sat in the center watching displays that showed their escape trajectory. Navigator So-Young Lee was at the controls, flying the ship with movements that seemed almost like a dance. "How long until we are safe?" Zithara asked. "Define safe," Lee replied without taking her eyes off her instruments. "We are clear of the gravity well, but we still have to get through the radiation field. Other ships cannot survive that radiation." Captain Park turned to look at her. "Other ships are not built like this one. The Endurance was designed for the worst conditions space can throw at us. But why? Why build ships for such dangerous conditions? Because that is where people need help the most." The simple answer hit Zithara like a revelation. While other civilizations built ships to explore safe regions of space, humans built ships to go where others could not or would not go. "Captain, I have been studying the galactic database about your people. It says humans are primitive and dangerous." Park smiled. "What do you think?" Zithara looked around the bridge. She saw technology that was different from galactic standards, but clearly effective. She saw crew members working together with a coordination that came from trust and training. She saw a ship that had just accomplished the impossible. "I think the database is wrong." "The galaxy judges us by their standards," Lee said from her pilot station. "They see that we do not have their technology or follow their protocols, so they assume we are inferior." "But you saved us when they could not." "Because we do not think like them," Captain Park explained. "They see problems as barriers. We see problems as puzzles to solve." Engineer Kim's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, we are clear of the radiation field. All Velkin passengers are safe and stable." A cheer went up from the human crew, and Zithara felt something she had not expected. These aliens had risked their lives to save her people, and now they were celebrating not their own survival, but the fact that all the Velvins were safe. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For what?" Captain Park asked. "For proving that being primitive does not mean being lesser. For showing that sometimes the best technology is courage and determination." Park stood up from his captain's chair. "Doctor, would you like to see how we get home?" As Zithara watched the human crew work together to plot a course back to civilization, she realized she was witnessing something historic. This was not just a rescue mission. This was first contact between humanity and the galaxy, and both sides were about to learn that they had seriously misjudged each other. The journey back to civilization took 3 days, and Zithara spent most of that time learning about humanity. The Velvins had been given quarters in the ship's cargo bay, which had been quickly converted into living space. It was cramped by Velkin standards, but the humans had made it as comfortable as possible. "Try this," said Communications Officer Eugene Chang, offering Zithara a small cup filled with a dark liquid. "It is called coffee. Humans drink it when we need energy." Zithara accepted the cup carefully. The smell was sharp and bitter, unlike anything in Velkin cuisine. She took a small sip and immediately felt her eyes widen. "This is very strong," she said. Eugene laughed. "Most aliens say that. Coffee is mild by human standards. You should see what we drink when we really need to stay awake." "You have drinks stronger than this?" "Much stronger. When you live on a death world, you learn to make stimulants that keep you alert during dangerous times." Zithara was still learning about Earth and its harsh conditions. Captain Park had shown her images of human cities built in places that would terrify most species. Humans lived on the edges of volcanoes, in the depths of frozen wastelands, and on islands surrounded by violent oceans. "Why do you not live in safer places?" she asked. "Safe is boring," replied Engineer Kim, who was adjusting the environmental controls for the Velkin passengers. "Besides, the dangerous places usually have the resources we need." "Resources?" "Volcanic areas have rare minerals. Cold regions have unique energy sources. Ocean islands have access to water currents that generate power." Dr. Choi joined the conversation. "Humans learned long ago that running from danger means missing opportunities." That evening, Captain Park invited the Velkin officers to join the human crew for dinner. The mess hall was small, with barely enough room for everyone, but the atmosphere was warm and friendly. "On human ships, we eat together," Park explained. "It builds unity among the crew." The food was simple, but flavorful. Zithara noticed that the humans shared everything, passing dishes around the table and making sure everyone had enough. When Velmoth mentioned that the flavors were too strong for Velkin taste, Dr. Choi immediately prepared a milder version. "You take care of each other," Zithara observed. "Of course," said Navigator Lee. "In dangerous work, your crewmates are your family. You protect family." "Even alien family?" Velmoth asked quietly. The humans exchanged glances, then Captain Park answered. "You called for help. That made you our responsibility. Family includes everyone we are responsible for." After dinner, Eugene Chang showed the Velvins something called music. She played recordings from Earth, and Zithara was amazed by the variety. Some songs were gentle and soothing, others were powerful and energetic. This one was written by soldiers, Chang explained as a particularly moving piece played. It is about never leaving a fallen comrade behind. Is that why you came for us? Zithara asked. Because of this principle? Partly, but mostly because it was the right thing to do. Zithara had heard that phrase several times now. The right thing. For humans, it seemed to be an answer that required no further explanation. Over the next 2 days, she learned more about human culture and values. They believed in helping others, even strangers. They believed in taking risks for important causes. They believed that everyone deserved a chance at life, regardless of species or origin. Your people are very different from what the galaxy thinks, she told Captain Park on the final day of their journey. Most species judge us by our technology or our appearance, Park replied. They see that we are not advanced by their standards, so they assume we have nothing valuable to offer. But you saved lives that advanced technology could not save. Technology is just tools. What matters is how you use those tools and why. Dr. Choi approached them with a medical report. All Velkin passengers are healthy and ready for transfer. No permanent injuries from the rescue. Thank you for taking such good care of my people, Zithara said. They are not just your people anymore. They are our friends now. The simple statement meant more to Zithara than any formal alliance treaty. In 3 days, the humans had not just saved Velkin lives, they had created bonds that transcended species. Captain Park, when we reach the Galactic Station, what will you tell them about first contact with humanity? Park was quiet for a moment. I will tell them the truth, that we came because someone needed help, and helping others is what humans do. They may not believe you accomplished this rescue. Then you can tell them what really happened. Zithara realized that Captain Park was right. She would have to be humanity's voice in the galactic community. Her testimony would be the first official report about human capabilities and character. What if they still refused to take humans seriously? Engineer Kim overheard and grinned. Then they will miss out on having the best rescue service in the galaxy. As the Endurance approached the Galactic Station, Zithara prepared to say goodbye to the humans who had saved her people. But she also prepared for something more important. She was about to introduce the galaxy to a species that would change everything. Captain, she said, my people have a tradition. When someone saves your life, they become part of your family forever. I am honored, Park replied. No, Captain. The honor is ours. You showed us what courage really means. Through the viewports, Zithara could see the lights of the Galactic Station growing larger. Soon, the galaxy would learn that the primitive Deathworlders were actually something much more remarkable. They were heroes. The Galactic Station was massive, a city in space where dozens of different species lived and worked together. As the Endurance docked, Zithara could see crowds gathering at the viewports. News of the impossible rescue had spread quickly, and everyone wanted to see the humans who had accomplished it. Are you ready for this? Captain Park asked as they prepared to disembark. I think that question should be for you, Zithara replied. You are about to meet the galaxy. Park smiled. We have been ready for this our whole lives. We just did not know it. The docking bay was filled with representatives from every major civilization. Zithara recognized the tall, elegant Corvani ambassadors, the crystalline Thexians, and the proud Zephyrians. All of them had refused to attempt the rescue, and now they waited to meet the species that had succeeded where they had failed. Ambassador Tezran of the Galactic Council stepped forward as the airlock opened. He was a Corvani, with the typical height and graceful movements of his people. His expression was carefully neutral. Dr. Zithara, he said formally, the Council is pleased to see you safe. We would like to hear your report about this incident. It was not an incident, Zithara replied firmly. It was a rescue. These humans saved all 43 members of my crew. Ambassador Tezeran looked past her to where the human crew was helping the Velkan survivors off their ship. Yes, we find that claim difficult to verify. Our experts calculated the mission was impossible. Then your experts were wrong. Captain Park stepped forward and offered a human gesture called a handshake. Ambassador Tezeran looked at the extended hand with confusion. I am Captain Jinwoo Park of the Earth vessel Endurance, Park said calmly. We are pleased to meet you. You are the leader of this human expedition? I am the captain of a rescue ship. When someone calls for help, we answer. The Corvani ambassador's eyes narrowed. Our records show that humans are a primitive species from the outer rim. How did you accomplish what our advanced technology could not? Dr. Choi stepped up beside her captain. Perhaps your advanced technology was not the right tool for this job. Impossible. Corvani ships are the most sophisticated in the galaxy. Engineer Kim joined the group. Sophisticated, yes. But were they built to fly through the corona of a star or survive in the heart of a radiation storm? Of course not. No rational species would build ships for such extreme conditions. That is why you could not save Dr. Zithara's people, Park said simply. You built your ships for normal conditions. We built ours for the impossible ones. A Thexian representative, Ambassador Veltar, spoke up. Her crystalline body chimed softly as she moved. The radiation levels near that gas giant would kill any known species. How did you survive? Navigator Lee answered. We grew up on a planet with dangerous radiation. We learned to shield against it. But your technology is primitive by galactic standards. Our technology is different, Lee corrected. We do not have your materials or your power sources, so we found other ways to solve problems. Ambassador Tezeran was clearly struggling to understand. But why would any civilization choose to live in such dangerous conditions? We did not choose it, Captain Park explained. Earth is our home. We adapted to survive there, and that adaptation made us able to help others. Dr. Zithara had heard enough. Ambassadors, while you debate technology and standards, these humans risked their lives to save my people. Every major civilization in the galaxy said the rescue was impossible. Only the humans said it was necessary. But they are primitives, insisted Ambassador Tezeran. They are heroes, Zithara replied firmly. And I will say that in my official report to the Council. The next few hours were a blur of meetings, interviews, and formal presentations. The humans answered every question with patience and honesty. They showed video footage of the rescue, explained their techniques, and demonstrated their equipment. Slowly, the galaxy's attitude began to change. The Zephyrian military commander admitted that human rescue techniques were superior to their own. The Thexian scientists were fascinated by human problem-solving methods. Even the proud Corvani began to show grudging respect. We may have misjudged you, Ambassador Tezeran finally admitted to Captain Park. Your methods are unconventional, but effective. We would be honored to share our knowledge with the galactic community, Park replied. In return, we hope to learn from you as well. 3 weeks later, formal first contact protocols were established. The humans were invited to join the Galactic Council as full members, not as junior partners or primitive observers. The rescue at the gas giant had proven that they belonged among the stars. Dr. Zithara stood with Captain Park as they watched human ships arrive at the galactic station. The Endurance had been joined by other Earth vessels, each one bringing diplomats, scientists, and engineers eager to work with their new alien friends. Are you proud of what you accomplished? She asked. Park considered the question. We did what humans do. We saw someone who needed help and we helped them. The rest just happened naturally. You changed everything. The galaxy will never see humanity the same way again. Good. Maybe now, when someone calls for help, there will be more ships willing to answer. A message came over the communication system. Another distress signal, this one from a mining vessel trapped in an asteroid field. The Corvani and Thexian ships were already powering up their engines. "Look at that," Park said with satisfaction. "They are learning." But Zithara noticed something else. The human ships were also preparing to launch. Even with other rescuers available, the humans were still ready to help. "Captain, you do not need to respond. The other ships can handle it." Park looked at her with that familiar human expression of determination. "Dr. Zithara, there is never a good reason not to help someone in need." As the rescue fleet launched from the station, Zithara realized that the galaxy had gained more than just a new member species. They had gained teachers who would show them that being advanced was not just about technology or power. It was about being willing to risk everything for others, even strangers from distant stars. The humans had responded to one SOS call, and the aliens had indeed gotten far more than they expected. They had gotten heroes who would inspire the entire galaxy to be better than they were before. And in the darkness of space, where someone would always need help, that made all the difference.